everybody. We are here. The day is finally here. We're talking about it. Let's talk about it.
Well, what is Let's Talk About It?
Okay, so we are putting together, we have put together a really cool conversation with some boss women. We're talking top minority business owners. Yes. So putting them all in a room, corona room, together for a great conversation, a powerful conversation on some really important topics for future business owners, people that are in business currently, maybe people that are thinking about it and they're working in other fields. This will be for everybody. So what are we talking about today, people? What are we talking about?
Let's talk about what we're talking about. Let's talk about. We wanted to make sure that we gathered these young women so that they have an opportunity to tell their stories, how they move forward and continue to operate their businesses after experiencing some adversity that directly impacted their sales and their business, and many times the reputations of their brands.
Yes, literally their credibility. So we'll give you a really good insight on their business sales, if that impacted those sales. We'll also get into their mental state during this time, if it positively impacted their business overall, all of these details. But also the important thing is we're going to be sharing this knowledge with you all and giving you some lessons in their experiences that we can all take from and apply to our business, our life overall, and just to us to make us better. So we're excited.
So kudos to Bliss Consulting Services and all the young women who decided to participate in that.
I also wanted to introduce another part of the team, Amber Marie Woods, and she's going to be our moderator for today. So Amber, you can give a little bit about yourself and then you have at it, honey.
Okay. So I'm Amber, as they said before. I work underneath these two ladies, and it's been a really great experience. I'm also the travel and lifestyle writer at XO Nicole. Also, 1/3 of the hosts on the XO Nicole Happy Hour podcast. And these ladies have taken me underneath their wing, and they're kind of like teaching me the ropes of some things and kind of streamlining some of my processes. So, as they said before, the event that happened with Honey Pot, we were just really in the office brainstorming about a lot of different things and just really talking about what was happening with them, and also understanding that this also happened with Embrace Pangea as well. And so we thought we need to have a conversation about this, because I know a lot of people were talking about the backlash or the criticisms that were coming towards Honey Pot, but we wanted to curate a conversation more about, well, what do you do when this happens? Because a lot of businesses, this is going to happen in your road, down your path. So we wanted to do that. And that's why we brought all of you wonderful ladies together. So I kind of wanted to start with everyone being able to introduce themselves and their platform. So TC, if you could start us off with like a brief introduction about you, your company, and your products, that'd be great.
Greetings, everyone. My name is TC Atkinson, and I leverage my background in chemistry and my current training as a PhD student in tropical biology to bring premium urban infused natural hygiene products and herbal detoxes. We also offer detox retreats, but as you know, during the current times, no one is going to be leaving their house. We're all quarantining. All right. So that's what we do here at Embrace Pangea. We're very holistic, and we try to be as well-rounded as we possibly can.
My name is Olenike Osi. I'm the founder and CEO of Goddess Detox, which is a female herbal holistic wellness company. And currently we sell our Goddess Vaginal Detox Pearls, as well as our Queen's in-home vaginal steaming system. And we'll also be expanding, but we're about self-love and women and empowerment.
I'm Beatrice Dixon, co-founder and CEO of the Honey Pot Company. We make vagina products for human vaginas. And those products span across daily and monthly. So we have external vulva washes, wipes. We have herbal menstrual pads. We have organic tampons. We have like almost 30 products in our category or in our product portfolio.
So as I said, this conversation will be centered around identifying criticisms in its many forms and discussing the economic impacts that these things have had on Black businesses and how to move forward strategically. So let's just jump right on in. So I would like each one of you to take us to the moment in which you knew your company was under fire and kind of describe what was going on and what your business was facing at that moment. And TC, if you can kick us off again, that'd be great.
The holistic side of Embrace Pangea, we originally started off as a female fashion company, but from a holistic point of view. So instead of us wearing pants and tights all the time, I started designing skirts, right? And that was more for a holistic fashion. But the herbal side started in 2015. So we started in 2014. But in 2015 is when we started the herbal side of Embrace Pangea, and that's where our company really started to grow and develop. Now, later on in December of 2015, we were really having a large expansion. And then in January of 2016 is when we had a lot of outreach from media and press, just inquiring about our herbal detox, our vaginal herbal detox, at that time, our Pangea Pearls. Now, at that time, I thought it was coming from a positive point of view because I never had a business that had press or inquiry from press before. So I didn't think of it as a negative reason why they were reaching out. I was naive to the fact that that what I was offering in regards to herbal detoxing could really be that detrimental or impactful to Western medicine. Now, the reason I say that is because we're in the holistic health field. That's where we are. The products we offer are contradictory to a Western philosophy of how someone should live their life and things of that nature, right? So the moment I realized that our company, Embrace Pangea, was under attack, per se, was when I went online and then I kept on getting all these negative reviews on Facebook. And then I started receiving death threats from people just emailing us and calling me personally like a charlatan and a scam and all these different things. I'm like, where's this coming from? And I'm just like, I thought we had quote unquote good press because people were reaching out, supposedly inquiring about what we were doing and how we were quote unquote helping people. But the reality is that's not the angle of the articles that were being published, right? The articles that I then found out, I then researched and looked online. I'm like, why are all these people who are males that would not even use our products to begin with are leaving negative reviews on our Facebook page? Why am I receiving death threats? Let me look into this. And then that's when I saw our company was being attacked by media and saying that I was offering harmful products to women. And the main person that they were quoting all the time was this Dr. Gunther. I think she's out of California. Yeah. But that is the moment I realized, right? I didn't see the news articles. I didn't see any of those things. That was afterwards. The moment I realized was when I was getting like these negative reviews that didn't make any sense because the people giving the reviews were people that would never actually buy the product to begin with because they were men.
Olinka, what was your experience?
So kind of similar to TC. I will say this just to preface it. In the beginning of starting the business, Goddess Detox, and selling our Goddess Vaginal Detox Pearls, in terms of advertising, it's a new product and it's typically not what women would see on the market. And so when I'm advertising, I will get comments like, oh, this doesn't work. This is a scam, just like TC had said. But that was from potential customers but they weren't interested. They just saw the ad and they didn't like it. But now in terms of like really slander and hard slamming, I want to say pretty much a few months ago, probably I think 3 or 4 months ago, I basically Dr. Jen Gunther, that is her name, out of California. She's a gynecologist, and she's also the author of this book called The Vagina Bible. And in her book, she really wants to focus on debunking myths related to the vagina. And so it was for her, in a good light for her, is to take products and say why they're false and why women shouldn't use it. So her drive is, I'm promoting my book, read my book. My book is about helping you with vaginas. And so she basically, talked to Health Canada, because we were selling our products in Canada as well. And Health Canada had basically stopped our sales. Like, we cannot sell our products in Canada, not even the vaginal steam that doesn't have anything inserted into the vagina. And the reason why that was stopped is because they just want to have our paperwork. They just want to make sure that we're either FDA approved or they have Health Canada, their own certain paperwork that we need to fill out. But from somebody, a customer or a potential customer looking in, from the articles that Jen Gunther backed and wrote, as well as a video that she was able to premiere on a big news outlet in Canada, it would show that, hey, Health Canada has banned these products because they're not safe. And that's not the reason why. The reason is just, we just got to get the paperwork. But that's not what she's saying. She's saying these are unsafe, don't use them. She took our product, put it on camera, on the video. I gave you guys the YouTube links and all that, just saying like why it's a horrible product. And on her Instagram page is when she said, I'm just so glad that I was able to work with Health Canada to get these products from being sold. That was what she said. And then so now when this stuff comes out on Instagram, I have people coming to my page, not my personal page, but my business page, Goddess Detox, and they're like, I'm so glad that Dr. Jen Gunther, stopped this. This is false. Women are not supposed to be using this, blah, 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 blah. And so then it's like, now that's slander. That's when it's like, our name is completely twisted. We don't even have a say to talk about these things. It's just kind of like, this is what it is. People take it for what it is. They're talking to a doctor. They're talking to a gynecologist. That's the person that I'm supposed to listen to, right? But when it comes to, as in holistic medicine or just holistic wellness, it's just like, we have different methods that may be herbal, but in terms of a doctor's training, they're not trained on that. And so they're never going to say, I recommend these herbal products to you, because that's not what they're trained on. That's not what they're selling. And so when they see a product like maybe our products, then they're going to be like, oh no, I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend that. But now it's coming from a place like, oh no, that's going to harm you. Don't even try it. Don't even think for yourself to try something different. And then I think the reason that she even got wind is just like, we're doing really well in general. And so, people want to talk to their gynecologists. People want to talk to the people that they feel that they should, trust, right? And I completely understand it. But when we're talking about holistic medicine, that's just not the case. And so at that time, that happened. And then also, we were getting, people, I don't know what to call it, but a law office wanted to basically sue us. They wanted to sue us because our advertising is false. That's what they wanted to sue us for. And then what they wanted to do was gather anybody that has used our products and say, hey, this is false advertising. And so when that came, that's what really hit me. When that came, I was just like, what? Like, I'm not an evil person, like you start questioning, because it's just like, what's going on? Because when we come to reviews, when we come to video reviews, when we're coming to the people that have actually used our product and have seen great results with either reducing menstrual cramps, getting pregnant, telling them they could never get pregnant, it's just like, what's going on? All I'm trying to do is help people. That's it. But now we're getting all this, negative attention. And so then when people look up your company, it looks like your company's a bad company when it's not. It's just because these other entities that may have a bigger outlet and a bigger voice that can spend all these advertising dollars when it comes to who can I call up in the media to write this article about this company. Now we seem like bad people. So now it's like, our name going under attack, or people saying they don't want to try it because, oh, I saw this article, you guys are getting sued, but they think, oh, you're getting sued because you're harming people. And that's not the case. It's false, quote unquote, false advertising, because I'm saying that these products have helped women in certain ways. So now it's like, when people look at it, they're like, oh no, I don't want to use this. And that's not the case. So a similar experience to TC, very traumatizing to me, because then it's just like, well, I need to, who do I need to call up, and what's the next move for me?
It was a Monday, and I had seen, I'm not really a person who has ever been super connected to social media. I've never gotten into it, so I don't have the desire for instant gratification. All the habits that can happen when you're connected. I just want to preface what I'm about to say with this.
Mm-hmm.
All the habits that can happen when social media is a part of your life, understand that I have never taken on those habits, right? So it would naturally probably affect me in a much different way than it would affect a lot of people, right? Because I just, there's only certain things that I give a fuck about, and what other people think is just not one of them. Especially if you're not my family and I don't love you, and you know what I mean? So it was like a Monday, and my Linda, our CMO, had sent me a message just saying that something had happened on Trustpilot, and she like text messaged me. She text messaged me Trustpilot, and then she text messaged me a post that somebody had did because they had seen it before we did, and it was a customer, and she had been using our products for a long time, had a huge following, and basically was like, let's turn this around. So I didn't, because I'm not so connected and tapped into like social media, all I did was went straight to, all right, let's call our publicist. Let's, what's the action plan? How do we need to move forward? I just went straight into like work mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't necessarily realize, I never even read the comments, to be honest, until maybe like a week or two later. Well, I read one because somebody sent it to me. Somebody said something about our product making them smell like menthol cigarettes, and I thought that shit was hilarious. So I even said that publicly because that's really good racism. You know what I mean? So all that I knew was that we went from like 2 stars to like 4.9 stars. In like a matter of hours. The people that had negative things to say, very similar to the other ladies, wasn't based on actual use. It was based on an opinion of what I said in the Target commercial about how I wanted to, we want to do well so that other young brown girls that are coming up with us and behind us, so we can really prep each other up, basically. So a lot of them were like, making comments about that, and she's racist, and why didn't she say white girls or every girl, and whatever. Mm-hmm. And look, real shit, that's their prerogative to say that.
Yeah.
Who am I to say what they can and cannot say? They have the right to have their opinion. In their opinion, they would have preferred that I say a different thing. And they went public with that, but that's what social media constructs are for that purpose. So, for me, those people did nothing wrong. They shouted out something that they believed in. Fortunate for us, we had thousands, if not millions, more people that thought different. And so, so that got turned around quickly. Mm-hmm. But if I'm honest, it was the best thing that ever happened to Honey Pot, So I if I could change it, I wouldn't change a thing.
It's really great because honestly, watching what happened to you and how everyone, I've seen
it happened for me. That didn't even happen to me. That happened for me.
Mm-hmm. That's great because the way the community came together and the way, even, I know you say you're not on social media, but that was like the first thing that I saw, and the way everybody came together and kind of banded around you, I was like, this is kind of what we need more of. So I'm glad that we're all in this conversation together, because now people will be able to see like this happens often, and that the response that you got is the response that other companies and the people who follow them and buy their products, this is the kind of the response that we need. So kind of circling back to something that you mentioned just now, B, about the first thing that you did was you went to your publicist and went to your action plan. What was kind of your action plan? What was your first steps? What were the first things that you needed to take care of in order to combat the things that were coming at you at that moment?
We were just trying to figure it out, you know, because we had been getting emails and social media posts and all that stuff weeks before that, right? So, you know, this was kind of the cherry on top of like, okay, should we put together a written statement? You know, what are the things that we can do? And then we bounced around a written statement, but then it was like, fuck that. Like there's look, if people have an opinion, nothing that you say is going to change that opinion. Right? And also nothing that you say, because they have it fixed in their mind what they thought, nothing that you have to say is going to change that. And they're going to be able to twist and turn anything that you say. So what we decided was not to respond and to let our community do the work and let them respond, because that would speak loud and clear, right? Like, don't let me be the one to tell you, you know, I don't even want to say what I was about to say, because when I believe in something, I don't defend it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to defend what I said, because I said it and I meant it. So, you know, so that was the other reason why a response wasn't necessary, because if I responded, that means that I'm being defensive, right? And there is literally no lack in what I said. There was no disrespect to any other person in what I said. You know, quite frankly, young white girls, you know, real shit, like, they may not even need to hear that. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't mean to say it in that way, but you know, the reason why I said what I said was because when you think about what's happening in the venture capital world, it's changing now, right? But up until now, you know, now meaning between 2018 and now, right? When you looked at the gap of venture capital funding that went to Black-owned, women-owned businesses, it was astounding. It is astounding, in fact, right? And so, you know, when I think about the reason why I said what I said, is because when you're raising money, you have to really have something to point to. When you go and sit down with an investor, you got to paint the picture. You got to tell them about your business, why I'm doing it. This is the problem I'm solving for. This is what we've been able to do. This is how much money we've been able to make. Blah, 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 right? You want to be able to point to a company that exited, right? Because when you start talking to venture capitalists, your company is moving towards an exit. It's not, or it's moving towards going public, right? So a lot of the reason that I said what I said was based on knowing those facts. Honey Pot, as a Black-owned, women-owned business, needs to get to exit, needs to be successful, so that the next Black girl can point to another Black-owned business that was successful, that grew fast, and that sold, right? And that's just the facts behind it. But you know, and the reality is, even with Black men, they don't necessarily need to hear that shit, because they would probably get money, right? In past times, they may get money before we do, right?
Yes.
So, you know, it's not just, it's not a racial thing. You know, it's more of being a woman and being a racial thing. It's changing. More businesses are growing fast. Black women are leading the charge in businesses that are being started, right? They're going to have to pay attention because there's a lot of us that are growing fast and that are going to exit. So these times have changed, right? But that was the context behind it. You know, little white girls don't necessarily need to have that because they can point to so many examples in our community that is just not a fact.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a person who really harps on race because I'm a fucking earthling. I'm human, right? I just happen to have brown skin. But if you took my skin off, I would look like everybody else, right? So I never pull a race card, right? It's very, very rare that I do. But this is just real shit, you know? But even if I said that to that community of people, they still wouldn't have heard me because they were deaf to that. They were deaf to that. They couldn't. Sometimes if your headspace isn't on that same frequency, you just can't hear it, right? Yeah. So there was no response.
Olanike and TC, what was kind of your first like moment of action once you guys saw your attacks? Like, what was your first thought? What was your first move? What did you guys do?
I had contacted my PR agent and I told her what was happening. And her suggestion was we need to get a lawyer. And so I have a business partner as well. And so she had recommended a lawyer, and that lawyer recommended somebody else that was really good in terms of slander in this way. And so we basically paid the lawyer just to have that person on retainer and to work on getting some of the articles taken down. But that was basically my move. And then also making sure our paperwork is together. I mean, as I will say, one thing that came out of it was just like, in terms of me being a CEO, it helps me to be a better CEO because it's like certain things I don't know that I'm going to have together or pay attention to, like paperwork through Canada or paperwork through the US and getting all of that together. So I will say that it helped me in that way. But that was my first move, was making sure that we had our lawyer, and what can we do and what can we say, and having good publicity, so to say. But that was basically the move. And then also spiritually, because I'm a very spiritual woman, I had to get a reading because I was like, what's going on? What's happening? And I got my reading and I got the reasons told what was happening, and did my spiritual shit that I was supposed to do. And I'm just making sure that I see the clear vision of my business. And so that was also really helpful for me, because apart from just being in this physical realm with physical things, such as talking to a lawyer, I know that there's something spiritually happening. And so sometimes for me, I get my readings or get clarity with trusted people, because for me, I want to know why, and is there anything that I need to do? And if so, what is that spiritually, and as well as the physical stuff. So that's what I did.
TC, what was your kind of first move, once you saw what was going on virally for you?
The first thing that I personally did was, at the time, I consulted the person I was in a relationship with. And what I'm about to say, speaking from the point of view as an entrepreneur, regardless of what field you're in, regardless of what industry you're in, because my experience was not necessarily a racial experience, it was more so an industry experience. Because just the same way that this white female doctor attacked a Black female owner, she also attacked Gwyneth Paltrow, and she is not Black, right? And it's just a historical thing that has happened throughout the decades, where you have Western medicine or Western philosophies attacking non-Western or traditional or so-called alternative methods. So I consulted my partner, right? We weren't business partners, just like my romantic partner at the time. And his reaction or his suggestion was for me to close my business, was for me to shut my doors and hide under a rock and then just restart under another business name. Clearly, I didn't do that. All right. So the next person I called was my campaign manager. So when I was an undergrad at Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, I ran a campus-wide campaign, and he was my campaign manager. And the reason why I also consulted him was not only because he was really great at crisis management during my campaign on the Hill, but he also interned at Tampax in the engineering department for their pads. So being as though a lot of the news articles were saying that you could get, let's say, toxic shock syndrome, or falsely claiming that you can get toxic shock syndrome from our Pangea pearls, which is absolutely false, I'm just like, wait a second. You actually interned there. You were in the engineering department for their tampons. Let's have a conversation about why what they're saying is false, and how can I prove scientifically that this is an inaccurate statement. So we did a whole entire breakdown, whole entire analysis of it, and I made my statement. But the one thing I did do, I wish I would not have done, which was just to post it on my platform.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you go on our website, you will see our official response to everything that the media had to say and why it was incorrect and all of those debunking facts, but it was only on my platform. So unless you're someone that's really dedicated and really eager to learn more about our company, you won't really see it, right? But if I were to do something different, I would post it on social media. I will also have more of our customer base, like our loyal Pangea family, post their experience and push and promote that. Just like what Honeypot was saying, you know, she was like, why do I need to respond when I have a whole entire community of millions of people? Let them respond. I think that was a great move, and that's something that I would have done differently. And if I were to experience something similar going forward, I would definitely do that approach. But another thing that I did in crisis management was just to pivot within my business, because I knew the way that our sales were affected financially from all these major domestic as well as international news outlets, and how they were talking about our company as a firm and all these different things. I'm like, a firm? I'm in my living room at that time. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So the way that they were talking about and slandering our product and our brand and even myself, I was like, you know what? I need to pivot. I need to branch out into different herbal detoxes or different lanes within the holistic field, just to make sure that my business is going to be stable and here for the long run. Because if I'm only dependent on one product, yes, it may be great, yes, it may be beneficial, but at the end of the day, if the business is not here, then this product it's not going to make any sense. So those are the things that I did. So that's why now we have 40 different products instead of just, we're still on just one product.
That was the right decision. not that my point of view matters, but I'm just saying. Yes.
Agreed. I agree.
TC, initially you said that you posted it on your site, your response. What was your thinking at that moment? Like, was that an emotional response to what happened, or what were you thinking?
No, absolutely not. Like I said, I consulted my friend because he interned at Tampax for I don't remember the summer he interned, but I think it was like 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. He interned in their engineering department for where they made their tampons. And so and he was also a environmental science major, whereas I was a chemistry major. So we put both of our understandings of the body and how chemicals work and how people can get certain types of diseases, in this case, toxic shock syndrome. We highlighted the truth of toxic shock syndrome, what it is, where it comes from, how you can actually get it, such as just going into the hospital and getting a regular surgery done. You can get toxic shock syndrome. They didn't mention that in the article. And also, from just like a cesarean, if someone is giving birth and they have like a cesarean section, you can also get toxic shock syndrome from that. So that's what we focus on. And then we also focus on just the mistruths that were being spoken by that doctor. But that's what we focus on, the facts. What it is, what it's not, what are the truths. It wasn't an emotional standpoint, but I did highlight the fact that this is nothing new. It's just at that time, it was just my turn. Like, I'm up. Why? Because at that time, my business was bigger, you know, in the sense of the product, specific product I was selling at that time back in 2016. right? And so because of that, okay, when people look at my website, when people look at the products, they're going to think, oh, this must be some big company because of how it's presented online on the interwebs. But the truth is, no, it's not what you think of me being this big conglomerate. No. But that's how we responded. It wasn't an emotional response. I didn't take it personally, other than the death threats. Of course, so
Right.
if you're in your right mind, you should definitely take death threats personally. But in regards to just the business being under attack, I'm just like, oh, you're up. You are you have to understand, as an entrepreneur in the holistic field, you have to understand where you are and what you're doing. You are in a country that is not a holistic country, that is not founded on traditional medicine. It's not like you came out of and you're working in a Caribbean country. Like, I'm Jamaican. It's not like Embrace Pangea was started and founded and based in Jamaica. No, we are, yes, founded and based in America because I am an American-born Jamaican. Mm-hmm. Those are the facts. So this is where I'm based. This is where I'm housed out of. But doing business in the holistic industry within the United States, and you're also getting results, meaning that they're going to have lower numbers in the hospitals, in the clinics, right? And the pharmaceutical industry is going to take a hit. You are going to be under attack if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in your business, which is helping people.
Just from an agency standpoint, I think what's so interesting is that all of you ladies at least consulted your internal team, even if it was a partner, even if it was your publicist, your CMO, your lawyer, whomever that was. Before you respond or don't respond, it's really important that everybody is on the same page internally before you put out anything externally. So kudos to you guys. Even though it looks so different, it still worked for your criticism, your attacks and things.
Whenever you consult someone, make sure they're on the same wavelength you are on. It is
Yes.
ensuring that your business is going to survive and thrive. All right. Because like I said, I consulted my partner at the time, my, we were in a relationship, my boyfriend at the time, and his MO was close the doors, close the doors, TC, close the doors. So I'm just saying, if you are going to consult someone, yes, absolutely. Consult your counsel, your team, whoever that is, but just make sure they're on the same wavelength of making sure your business, your dream is going to be able to survive and thrive. Don't give up. Whatever you do, do not give up.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So it does sound like all of you ladies pulled in some sort of resource that you had, whether it was somebody that was already on your team or someone that you knew through a different business vein or something like that, to help you be able to leverage what you did have to fight against, or not fight against, in so many words, what was happening to you. Toya or Nikita, can you guys speak to like what it looks like when you do bring in a business consulting agency to help with crisis management? Like, what does crisis management look like when you do that?
Bringing in that team, they're just going to bring in that communications understanding of how you should react during pre-crisis, during the crisis, after the crisis. What does a crisis look like? Just helping you to navigate those waters. Just with our PR agency, one of the things that really interested us with TC was that she did have this 2016 happening that she didn't respond to. She still was having some bad press surrounding that instance. And that really stood out to us because we are definitely for the community, but also with helping people to really tell their stories. And when we feel as though these stories aren't being told in the way they should, that's like a go-to client for us. So we definitely will come in to help you develop messaging, help you to communicate effectively what needs to be communicated, all of those things. And like I said, it's definitely a step-by-step, it's a multi-phase process. Did you want to add to that?
So usually what's most important, we want to try to, not that what you said isn't important, but we want to get the basics in the beginning and start a collaborative brainstorm about what's going on, what's being said, determine what's the response of the business, and get strategic about whether or not or how the response is going to happen. Oftentimes, I've noticed a lot of you ladies said that you didn't respond immediately. And in those cases, it worked well. However, in some cases, it is necessary to have a response. But with that being said, it doesn't negate the fact that not responding is still a response.
Absolutely.
When it's used strategically.
Yeah.
Like Beyonce uses that very often.
Yeah, it works.
She doesn't address certain things that come out directly, but she will respond with great work or great quality work. And oftentimes that is a strategy that we like to utilize in countering a lot of that, whatever information is put out, and kind of taking control of the story and making sure that we tell the story the way that it needs to be told. But we also want to consider all the implications involved, how it can impact the business. There's a lot of strategy that goes on prior to coming out with a plan.
I want to know, was it positive or negative once these attacks happened? Because I think people assume sometimes when these things happen that things just tank.
People like to say, all press is good press. Wrong, false, inaccurate. Well, in my experience, okay? So when it came down to these different major outlets like the Doctor Show or the Times or the Daily or the Washington Post posting negatively about Embrace Pangea or about myself or about our products, it definitely had a negative financial impact on our business, especially when I'm starting out as a new entrepreneur in a business online, right? So we were just reaching, I think we had reached like over like 20K towards the end of 2015. And then in February, like the first month after the whole entire slew of negative press, we were barely making 2,500 in sales, barely. So for me, and that stayed like that for about 4 to 6 months afterwards. And then that's when I really got serious about pivoting, and not only pivoting, but doing different marketing strategies, right? So just changing up, right? Just adapting and changing up and not really staying with the old things that I was doing before the negative press. But yeah, absolutely. For myself, it did have a negative impact, right? But like I said, there are certain things that I would have changed now knowing what I know.
I would say in terms of the way people reacted, or maybe people coming onto my page and talking about us that had no idea what we did, that was negative. But in terms of like sales and stuff, I didn't see a negative impact. We saw a lot more views from Canada. Of course, we couldn't sell at that time to Canada. But people wanted to know who we were. Some people, you know, this video went on YouTube on a major platform, like I think Canada, CNN or whatever Canada has, right? And so it's like, you look at the comments and people are like, oh, hocus pocus, blah, blah, blah. But some people is like, well, actually, I don't really trust my doctor like that. I'm actually looking for a holistic natural product. And so for them, they're like, oh, wow, let me look into Goddess Detox. Let me see what's happening. Let me actually look at the reviews. Oh, wow, I see the video. There's just too many reviews to be false. You know what I'm trying to say? Too many reviews to be false. So it's just like, for me, I didn't see a negative impact. Our sales have continued to climb, and more and more days I'm surprised with numbers. So I'm like, oh wow, I've always wanted this number on the day. So yeah, for me, sales have not been negatively impacted. It's just been, again, learning to be a better CEO. Like I have my CFO as well as my COO, and like he does like operations and customer service as well as the finances for the business. And so it's like, okay, inventory looks like it's low. We need to be continuing to buy more inventory, or maybe what new products can we sell? What more can we offer people? And so again, it's like, it just has helped me to not stay stagnant. It's helped me to stay on my shit and to grow in my shit in terms of being a better business owner, because all I see moving on is expansion. All I see is more growth. And so even though this has, quote unquote, wasn't the best kind of thing for me, in my personal opinion, again, there are learning lessons from it. Paperwork, growth opportunity, understanding that I need to have more inventory, and staying on top of how fast do we sell out of things, and how can we continue to stay stocked up, and what more can we offer people. So that is, in terms of financially, that's how it's impacted me, and for me that's been good.
For any entrepreneur or anyone that's thinking about getting into entrepreneurship, keep in mind when these things happen in our businesses, right? What happened to me literally happened within less than 6 months of like the holistic herbal side of my business starting. Okay. For Vanessa, how many years into your business then did this happen?
Like the fourth, 4 years. Yeah. So it took a while, you know?
Right. 4 years, right? And then for
product.
Honeypot, how long have you been in business before this happened with the Target commercial?
8 years.
8 years, right? So that's one thing I definitely want to highlight. If you are new and you're starting out, focus on your reviews. Focus on you making sure that you have your internal good review system happening. You have all of those things so that if negative press does come, just like Vanessa said, when people go to your website or they go look you up online, they do see a whole slew, an avalanche of positive reviews to counter any negative press, no matter how big the press or the media platform is. Whereas in my case, like I said, that was like less than 6 months into the holistic side of Embrace Pangea, the herbal side of Embrace Pangea, when I got my negative press. Here we are, this is my 6th year of having Embrace Pangea. So that was 6 months in when that happened to me, and I'm going to be in my 6th year in May, literally in a couple of days.
Yeah, I was just going to point out the awesome reminder that Beatrice gave when she said that this didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Mm-hmm. That's an awesome statement, and we really need to hear that often, because these are things that we hear and we know, but when it comes time to apply these things, in whether it's situations in business or in life, sometimes we forget those things. Yeah. So thank you for saying that. Yeah. And what I'm hearing is that a lot of the ladies, perspective is everything. Yeah. So when you say it's happening for me, it sounds like with, make sure that I'm pronouncing this correctly, because I want to say your name, Olenike.
Olenike.
Yeah. When you were saying it sounds like it helped you to build the team around your business more. So you started to collaborate, and then you utilized the lawyer. So I'm sure from that you started to think differently in terms of protecting your business and making sure that paperwork and things are all together. And then just 6 months in, you said 6 months, right? 6 months in, you started to expand the products that you offer. So thanks for that, guys. That is awesome. Pivoting is important. Very important. That's a good reminder.
Yeah.
If that were to ever happen to you again, sister, if this is not solicited advice, it's not even really, I'm not even trying to advise you. I guess I'm just trying to give you a different perspective. That happened to you 6 months in, but you're 6 years in now. And even though it seemed awful at the time and you were getting really bad energy and death threats and shit like that, I bet I just Googled your business while I was sitting here. I mean, your reviews and everything about everything that you do is crazy, right? I would think that even though your sales might have went down, I think that it still helped to create a foundation for your business, because whether it was good or bad, what people had to say if somebody Googled your company, right? Fact of the matter is that millions of people saw your business, right? Because of all the press that you got. So I disagree with you that all press isn't good press. I think that all press is good press because whether it's good or bad, for all of us, the intention was for it to be bad, right? For all of us, we've all been in business over 5 years. Most businesses don't survive past 1 or 2, right? So many people know about your brand that may not have known about it, right? So I just wanted to say, you know, that I think that was fantastic for your brand. And I think that everything that was supposed to happen to you did. And I think that it made you a better business leader and a better businesswoman. And I think that that you learned about the human condition. And you know, but it's remarkable what we've all been able to do. This shit is hard to do, you know. So yeah. I just wanted to say that, like, don't forget that, right? And always have your shit together. You need to have business insurance that is crazy legit. Yeah. You need to have every FDA thing that you have to have. You might need to look into a quality control person just to make sure that everything adds up, right? As long as you're in compliance with that, don't give a fuck about what anybody has to say, right? If you are in compliance, nothing that anybody has to say matters, right? You know, if it's hitting your bottom line, sure, you have to figure out how to get that back, right? And you figured it out. You launched like 30 or however many new products that you did, right? But I just wanted to say, because as you get bigger, listen, haters are gonna come, and they may look like you. It may not be a racial thing. Law firms are made for brands that get big, so that they can go after companies like ours that are growing, right? So, you know, I felt to say that. As it relates to Honey Pot, it was remarkable. You know, our product still can't stay on the shelf. You know, it was a double-edged sword because we weren't necessarily prepared to go viral, and then the virus came. You know, so it's really just been catching up on supply chain. You know, being able to capitalize on all the demand that's happening, even though it's not really in our power to, because we can't get things made. You know, it feels like sometimes we just can't get things made fast enough. We don't hold our manufacturing in our hand anymore. So, you know, but it has been remarkable. It has been fantastic. You know, so many people know about our brand now. So many people, you know, are buying out the shelves. So many people have kind things to say. And I'm sure so many people still have negative shit to say. But the fact of the matter is it was really remarkable for us.
Yeah, at the Essence thing that you spoke at a few days ago, you were telling people to not hoard your stuff because you wanted to make sure everyone was able to get access, and that you're never coming off the shelves right now. Like, y'all will have things. And I thought that's just a testament in itself to say what happened to Honey Pot, it didn't stop anything. What happened to Goddess Detox, it didn't stop anything. What happened to Embrace Pangea, it didn't stop anything. It's just that was my point.
Yeah.
People don't really care about facts. People want to be social. People want to jump on bandwagons. Yeah. People, you know, the doctor that had the things that she had to say that used you guys to catapult her career. Keep in mind, that bitch used your shit to make a name for her.
Yeah.
That's crazy when you think about it.
Her business. Yeah, she's
real shit. Yeah. She used your energy and your all the hard work, all the grind, all the sweat, all the blood, all the tears, all that it took for you to create it, test it, try it, all the things that your pussy had to go through in order to even want to create that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Keep in mind, keep the positive in mind. Keep the positive perspective in mind. Do not let your mind go to a defensive place. Do not let your mind go to a negative place. Pull out the positive perspective every single time, because if your mind goes to that side of the spectrum,
Yeah.
you can't it's hard to dig yourself out of that. You have to keep your mind on, you got to keep your eye on the prize. You cannot give a fuck about what happened 5 minutes ago. You just have to stay focused. What do I have to do? What do I have to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the fact that she unconsciously didn't even realize, nor did the people that had negative things to say, unconsciously, they didn't realize that they used your energy to catapult them.
Yeah.
Or they try to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's a part of the human condition. Unconsciously doing shit and consciously doing shit, right? And you know, and feeling the need to bring somebody down in order to pull yourself up.
I would like to know, what were your top 2 or 3 lessons coming out of all of this? I know we touched on a lot. I know we touched on a few things before, but if we could wrap that up in a nice bow, and just what were the top 2, 3 things that you learned coming out of this? And Olanike, if you could start, that'd be great.
I say one of my top things is definitely make sure you have your team together. Like, work on your team together. One thing I've learned in business is that I can only do so much, and I can only do so much and be at peace with myself, you know? And so it's like, as you start growing and as you start expanding, you want to have team members to be able to move things off to, because you still want to be a whole person. And a lot of times when businesses start to expand, you're doing a lot of shit and you're just like, wow, how do people do this? They have teams. So I'll say have teams. For me, faith was something big for me. And the reason I say have faith is because when I did my spiritual reading, that is something that came from me. And for me, it's a lesson of faith, because as B had mentioned, having your mind on the bigger picture is very important, because it's like that energy that you're focusing on the bigger picture is what's going to continue to move things up for you. But if you're not having faith and you're going into that dark space, I would like to say, the way that people are bringing you down, then that's not going to help expand your name, your brand, or yourself, or your business. So for me, one of my learning lessons was having faith, and then also having a bigger vision for my company. Like, what do I want to see my company be? What kind of people are we helping? And continuing to have that greater vision. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's one of my top 2. And then if I didn't say have a lawyer.
Number one thing, there would be no Embrace Pangea here if I were not truly committed to the vision that I embarked on. So that's the number one lesson. Whatever you embark upon, you have to be relentlessly committed to that vision. In the face of whatever adversity comes up, you have to be committed. Because there are other people who may not be as committed as you are, that you may give a lot of grace or hold a lot of weight. Their opinion may hold a lot of weight in your life, right? And in that moment, their opinion may not be in the favor of you and your vision, right? So you have to be the master of your vision. You have to take action for that and just really hold on to that and do the work that you need to do. So that's number one. Whatever it is, you need to have solid commitment to it. The second thing is you need to be able to pivot. You need to be able to pivot, but not necessarily pivot in the sense of I'm going to just throw something new out there that doesn't really align with your business or doesn't really make any sense. But pivot, purposefully pivot. And the third thing that I would say is you want to ensure that you have your reviews together. You have your reviews together. That's it. That's the third main thing. Have your reviews together, right? All those people that love your stuff and love what you do, that are like, look, I am team, whatever your business name is, reach out to them. Get good reviews from them. Why? Because that is really the lifeblood of your business, in my opinion and in my experience. Because if it were not for those things, we really wouldn't be here in the capacity that we're here to serve the people that we serve, how we serve people. So those are the top 3. Be relentless. Don't stop. Number 2, pivot. purposely pivot. And then number 3, make sure you have your reviews, written or video, however you do it, however you get down, reviews.
To kill my ego, to be grateful, and to stay focused on the North Star. And that wasn't even necessarily like lessons. They were conditioning that I was forming, or that I'm constantly forming in my life. So I'm in school for that in my life. Mm-hmm. But those moments helped me to understand that the work that I was doing had showed me that I needed those tools in order to be successful with the adversity, with the growth, with the things that we don't have control over.
When all of this happened, how did Target support you? Because I mean, it's not like they took down the commercial or that they, wrote a statement against anything that you said. So what did they do? What happened for you with Target?
When you shoot a commercial, I didn't notice until we did it. It takes like 3 or 4 days, right? Like you're waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and you're getting back to your hotel by like 6 o'clock in the evening. So, you're creating so much content for them to condense down into a 30-second spot, right? So it's important to understand that, because in that particular piece of the commercial where I was talking about what was important to me, I had given him so much content within that moment, right? Like we sat there for nearly an hour and he was just like blasting questions at me, questions. And I had to answer them, right? Target chose that content. I didn't choose that content, right? Mm-hmm. So for Target, the other thing that has to be understood is Target was looking for a Black-owned, woman-owned business to be able to feature around Black History Month and then Women's History Month.
Right.
So, for them, they have just been nothing but supportive, nothing but kind, nothing but like we fully stand behind them type of vibe, because, they chose that content for a reason, because they understand the disparities. They understand the things that are going on in the community. They understand that we need to be lifted up, right? And so, they were, and they still continue to be, such an important part of our business, such an important part of our ethos, because the way that they stood behind us was amazing. I mean, it was some gangster shit. It was some gangster shit to me that they chose that content. I was like, wow, okay. I said it, I meant it. If I could do it again, I would do the same thing. But, I thought it was really dope that that's what they chose.
Mentally, how were you all able to kind of move through this and then shift into a new space? What's happened for you guys mentally as business owners? There's going to be a lot of business owners watching this, and we get that business is business, but like personally in your own space, like mentally, how have you guys been able to go through this and recover?
First, when I heard everything and I had called my PR person, I was like, okay, everything's going to be fine. And then, you go, at least I did. I looked at the video, I read the article, and I was like, wow, they really made our company seem like a horrible, company. So then I got sad. And then I remember I was in my bed in the morning, and I was just sad. Like I didn't want to do anything that day. And so then I had called my girlfriend and I was like, can you come over? She was like, what's wrong? And I was like, just come over. And she came over and she saw that I was crying. And I was like, I think I wanted pizza. I wanted to go get pizza with her, was crying, and she just let me cry. And, she saw everything and she was upset, but she was just like, in a way, like, wow, like all these people in Canada saw your business. All these people, heard about you. Like you are on national freaking news television. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's what she was saying. And so then after I felt a little bit better emotionally, that's after that I had gotten my reading from my friend, my very trusted friend. If anybody's getting a reading, make sure it's a trusted person. And I had gotten some feedback from my ancestors on why everything was happening. And for me, that was really important for me because like, In terms of like my ancestors and what I do, it's important for me to know just what's happening when things happen or things shift in a way, especially when they're, to me, may look very unfavorable. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what can I do. And so after she was able to break things down about what was happening, then I was able to really stand into that better perspective, because I understand fully what was happening. I understand fully spiritually what was happening behind the scenes and what I needed to do. And it's like, if I didn't do that, things would go a different way. So once I understood that, then I had to be like, okay, this is what I'm walking in. And that's how I was able to continue to shift my perspective. So yeah.
For even me, like I said, this happened back in 2016. We're in a whole new decade. It's 2020 now, right? So even for me having this conversation with you guys, I have to go back in my mind, right, and relive those situations. But in some instances, it's hard for me to go back, not because it was, let's say, a painful thing, but because I've done so much burying of what happened and evolved so much as a tougher mental person. Even with handling my mom's business, I'm just like, I don't care what's going on. We got to do this, da 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 da. Because my brain is just different now, but the way I think is just different. Where it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone says online. Okay, your job is to say something online. That's how you make your money. You report. If you have nothing to report on, you have no viewers, you have no readers, and then your business goes down. So I understand. That's why I'm just like, okay. But mentally, what did I have to do? Just one, not care, right? Not care. And just realize, hey, people are going to have their opinion. And just because there are more people saying something does not legitimize what they're saying. It does not make what they're saying true because it's more of them saying it. They're still wrong, right? They're still wrong. But I had to just toughen up mentally in regards to that. It's different when you're growing up and you are, let's say, experiencing someone bullying you. It's one person. Oh, all right. You go through that. You toughen up as a person. And that's just a part of going through childhood, right? But it's different when you involve social media into it, because social media has a way of amplifying information, regardless if that information is true or not. That's just the nature of social media. And it can give a false illusion of reality. So that's what I'm saying. The truth of the matter is I just had to just not care about certain information. Even nowadays, if someone were to say something negative about our company, I'm just like, is this true? If it is true, what can I do about fixing it? If it's not true, okay, whatever. Next, right? Just keep it moving. But that's what I had to do to just, as personally. And then also just being vigilant of the people that I have in my circle. Because there may be days where, my mind may not be as vigilant as it should be or as strong as it should be. And I just need to have those people that are in my circle to just lift me up and be like, oh, okay, forget about what they're talking about. Yeah. We know who you are, right? So I just need to be, or I had to become more vigilant of choosing the right people to be in my circle, right? Just in case I'm having a day where I may not be all the way where I need to be. But that's what I would have to say. So what was that, 4 years ago at this point? Yeah, that's what I had to do. Whereas now I'm a different person. I'm just like, okay, what are we doing? Huh? No.
With me, those few weeks that all that happened, it was like a massive press tour.
Oh, yeah.
And even since then, every week I'm probably doing at least like 5 to 10 of these types of interviews. But if I go back, like TC would just say, if I go back, I needed to like get quiet, and I needed to just cook my own food and eat well. And then all of this stuff happened with COVID. So then I was like, oh, what I try to do is like be in my present moment and see where I am and don't judge it and like live there, right? So like right now, you know, energetically, the world is stressed out. Everything's crazy. People don't know what's going on. People are watching the news, so they're scared, all that kind of stuff. I kind of did the opposite of that. Like I just turned off. I went to New York because we keep a place there because under normal circumstances, we're back and forth there a lot, whether it's events or trade shows or whatever. So after all that happened, I went there and I just like worked from there, and I just like went to the bodega and got myself food and cooked it and drank water and walked around. And then all this happened, which further pushed me into, okay, take care of yourself even more. Yeah. So I went in and I just like got real granular on taking care of myself. And it was a really beautiful experience because I built way healthier habits. Not that I wasn't healthy, but I've been building really healthy habits since all those things happened. And you know, and really all I've had time to do is like me, my close friends and family, like, you know, have this tribe that we have that's really beautiful, and like feed that and work. I haven't really had much time to do anything different, but I've just gotten really focused. You know, but truth be told, I was tired because I had to give a lot of energy. And the way that I speak, these aren't sound bites for me. Like I really fucking live this way, right? Yeah. Like to my core. So, you know, but people see that and they sometimes, and I'm only saying this because of things that people have said to me, like they're like, how do you do that? How do you do that? It's like anybody can. I'm not doing anything special. I'm actually pretty ordinary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but so there was a lot of energy that was being like beamed at me, and I feel that kind of stuff because I'm conscious of it. So I got tired, but I just went in and I rested, and I and I just like and really even till now I'm just like feeding myself, you know, and just taking care of myself. Cause that shit was hard, you know. It wasn't easy.
Just want to say that this whole conversation's been amazing. In our last couple minutes, I kind of wanted to give the last couple of thoughts to Bliss Consulting, to Latoya, and to Nikita. Just if you guys wanted to wrap anything up that we've talked about so far.
Just what everybody was talking about, I think because this will reach so many entrepreneurs, people that aren't entrepreneurs, just in the regular work field, just people, period. I think everyone can take something from this conversation, and that's really what this was about, to really pass on this knowledge. And because a lot of us are in the entrepreneurial space, I think it's so important that people know that it is so vital to take care of yourself. I think just like Beatrice was just saying, COVID really, with some people, is forcing it, but it helped us to see how much we needed to rest, how much we needed to reset and really pour into our circles and ourselves and just sit silent. I know I've been doing a lot of that. I know Nikita, she's been going deep as well, but taking care of our mental is most important in all of this, so that when it's time to listen, we'll know what to do. We'll be guided by our own intuitive, our own intuition, and our spiritual guidance as well. But I think that's really important for us to go deep and really be able to listen so that we can act accordingly. So this was beautiful. I'm really grateful for everyone's vulnerability and being brave and really telling the truth. Like, this is what we wanted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're almost out of time. And I just wanted to say thank you to Goddess Detox and Olanike. Thank you to Honeypot and B. And thank you to Embrace Pangea and TC. I also wanted to say thank you for Bliss for curating this entire conversation. I know we've been in talks about it for most of the first quarter, trying to put this together, and we knew it would be really great and really big. And I also wanted to let everyone know that you can find Bliss at www.bcsbliss.com or at BCS Bliss on Instagram. Also, we will be sending out everyone's information that was a part of this conversation today, so you know where to find them and find their products. But I just want to say a huge, huge thank you, and we are so very grateful to you ladies. You ladies are amazing business owners, thought leaders, community leaders, and we just appreciate you sharing your information with us.